The 10 most amazing unexplained artifacts. Now and then, archaeologists, and once in a while beginner archaeologists, make striking and unusual revelations. Now and again, the finding is astonishing to the point that they can't clarify what it is they've discovered, how it appeared, or determine its worth. This is a rundown of such unexplained antiques, curios that many accept ought to have never existed, or for which we have no wonderful clarification. Number 1 is the London hammer, a tool older than history. In June 1936, or 1934, as per a few records, Max Hahn and his significant other Emma were on a walk, when they saw a stone with wood jutting from its center. They chose to take the peculiarity home, and later aired out it with a sledge and an etch. Amusingly, what they discovered inside appeared to be an ancient mallet of sorts. They went it to a group of archaeologists who checked it, and incidentally, the stone encasing the sledge was dated to the Ordovician, in excess of 400 million years prior. There is some inquiry with respect to that dating, however, yet here's the kicker: as indicated by introductory estimations, the actual sledge ended up being in excess of 500 million years of age. Evidently, it's old to the point that a part of the handle has started the change to coal. Creationists, obviously, were everywhere on this, and creationist Carl Baugh hooked onto the sledge in the 80s, in any event, utilizing it as the premise of theory of how the barometrical nature of a pre-flood Earth might have supported the development of Goliaths. The sledge's head, made of over 96% iron, is definitely more unadulterated than anything nature might have accomplished without help from innovation. Nonetheless, there is critical motivation to scrutinize the underlying dating, and on the grounds that the mallet was encased in old rocks doesn't imply that it itself is just about as old as the stones. Number 2 is the Antikythera Mechanism, a Greek ancient computer. The Antikythera instrument has been named the primary mechanical PC. Found in a wreck off the Greek island of Antikythera, covered under 45 meters of water, it was intended to figure galactic positions. Comprising of a case with dials outwardly, and an exceptionally perplexing get-together of stuff wheels mounted inside, it's probably pretty much as mind-boggling as an 18th century first-rate clock. The degree of complexity used by the gadget has constrained researchers to acknowledge that their impression of old Greek designing might be broken. Nothing like this exists, or is referenced in any known compositions from the time of its creation. In view of the information we do have, this system shouldn't exist. As indicated by Professor Michael Admans of Cardiff University, who drove the group examining the system. According to its astounding intricacy, it appears reasonable to expect that the Antikythera has different archetypes, however none of them have been discovered, which makes it considerably more amazing. The intricacy and workmanship didn't show up again in Europe until the improvement of mechanical cosmic checks in the 14th century, so how did the old Greeks, with essentially no innovation accessible, figure out how to fabricate a particularly mind-boggling mini-computer? Indeed, we don't have the foggiest idea, yet. Number 3 is the Dropa Stonis in 1938, an endeavor driven by excavator Dr. Kai Pute into the Bain Kar Yula in China, made an astounding disclosure. Close by caverns held hints of the antiquated culture which once involved them. Covered under thick layers of residue, many stone circles lay dispersed about the caverns inside. There appeared to be nothing staggering at first, yet the plates ended up being frightfully like phonograph records, 9 crawls in breadth, a circle cut into their focuses and a conspicuous twisting section. They are accepted to be over 10,000 years of age. Yet, the winding, things being what they are, is made out of minuscule hieroglyphics. At the point when contemplated and deciphered, it was uncovered that the circles recount the astonishing story of spaceships that collided with the mountains, guided by individuals who considered themselves the Dropa. In any event, that is the thing that Sunum Nui, the Chinese specialist responsible for the Dropa stone's close. Number 4 is the Saqqara bird, an Egyptian plane found during the 1898 removal of the Pat-i-im burial place in Saqqara, Egypt. The Saqqara bird is, as you might have speculated, a bird molded antiquity produced using the wood of a sycamore tree. Tipping the scales at just shy of 40 grams, and with a wingspan of in excess of 7 inches, it's been traced all the way back to around 200 BC, 2200 years prior. Absence of documentation and other information has prompted some theory with respect to its capacity. Indeed, the old Egyptians were very much aware of the standards of flying, yet it's not satisfactory how this meant the actual antique. So what was its motivation? Was it basically the toy of a well-to-do Egyptian youngster? Did it fill some sort of stylized need? In any case, the article has not many practical bird attributes. With its vertical tail, taking after that of a plainer lightweight flyer, it looks like no known bird. Egyptian doctor, classicist, parapsychologist, and Dosar Khalil Masiha has hypothesized that the old Egyptians built up the main airplane. Nonetheless, scientists have since reached the resolution that it couldn't be compelling as an airplane because of absence of innovation, yet it might have, truth be told, been a lightweight flyer. Number 5 is the Baghdad Battery, a 2,000-year-old battery. This gadget comprises of a 5.5-inch high earth vessel, within which was a copper chamber held set up by blacktop. Inside the chamber, archaeologists tracked down an oxidized iron bar. In 1940, Wilhelm Koenig, the German overseer of the National Museum of Iraq, recommended that these could be galvanic cells, maybe utilized for electroplating gold onto silver articles. No one has had the option to refute him, particularly since it simply should have been loaded up with a corrosive or basic substance to create an electric charge. The Baghdad Battery wouldn't have been extremely successful as a battery, however there's a possibility it might have worked. Elizabeth Stone, an excavator at Stony Brook University, says current archaeologists don't really accept that the item was a battery and was rather basically a capacity vessel. Number 6 is unexplainable fossils and metal objects. Topography is a moderately new science. The advancement and improvements made through experimentation are totally amazing and have helped in numerous different fields. In any case, there are a few things yet to be clarified. Despite the fact that the honeycomb example of Paleodictyon is now notable, we remain puzzled regarding the production of such, and more inquiries are being raised. For instance, a fossil of a human hand-shaped impression was discovered in limestone assessed to be in excess of 110 million years, a fossilized human finger with comparably much, and a clear disclosure of a human impression that perhaps brandished a shoe which dates to in excess of 300 million years prior. These stunning fossilized engravings remains have left mainstream researchers scratching their aggregate heads. Also the 65-million-year-old semi-ovoid metallic cylinders being uncovered from underneath France, the uncommon square of coal found 124 years prior which contained a metal block that couldn't have shaped normally inside the bump, and a lot additional charming things. Number 7 is the Piri Reis map in 1929. A gathering of history specialists made what must be depicted as a stunning revelation, compassed on the skin of a gazelle. After examination and exploration, they found that it is a certifiable guide attracted 1513 by Piri Reis, a very much archived chief naval officer of the Turkish naval force. He portrays Europe and North Africa, the shore of Brazil, a few islands, the Azores, Canary Islands, and the legendary island of Antikythera, and even Antarctica, which was believed to be found over 300 years after the fact. The most bewildering thing isn't that it shows we need to reevaluate the order for various exploratory revelations, however that it portrays Antarctica's geography as not being veiled by ice and in extraordinary detail. The last time that happened was over 6,000 years prior. Disclosed to me at that point. How did a Turkish naval commander from a large portion of 1,000 years prior map a landmass that has been covered by ice throughout the previous 6,000 years? Number 8 is the Nazca drawings. The Nazca drawings, or lines, unquestionably have something supernatural about them. Found in 1930, when the US introduced 2 new advertisement lines, they cover 450 square kilometers, and some action more than 200 meters long. They portray lines, mathematical figures, creatures, and figures that we haven't altogether sorted out yet. Many trust them to be star groupings. Regardless of whether made for the divine beings, or for some other explanation, clearly they were intended to be seen from the sky. Researchers experienced issues attempting to sort out how they might have been planned and made without someone coordinating the work from a higher place. We can just wonder about these astonishing figures and keep on considering how and why they were made by a group called the Nazca. Number 9 is the mysterious city of Natal, a city built on corals. The city of Natal was worked between 200 BC 800 AD on a coral reef close to Micronesia. It comprised of around 100 fake islands produced using tremendous basalt hinders and associated with viaducts. From the beginning, it astonishes us with a blend of the odd and magnificence. From the beginning it appears to be disjointed, 250 million tons of seaward basalt in no place. How were these colossal squares quarried, shipped, and set in the ideal spot? Indeed, even by the present guidelines, it was an amazing designing accomplishment. Moreover, the thinking behind its advancement stays a secret. Archaeologists have not many hints concerning what befallen the progress responsible for its creation. Number 10 is the Saqqara walls close to the city of Cuzco, in excess of 3,500 meters above ocean level. These astonishing dividers initially captivated the Spanish conquistadors. They were bewildered to find how these individuals who, as indicated by them, were uninformed and come up short on the capacity of coherent thinking needed to have assembled such ponders. There are indeed 3 concentric dividers, the normal being around 360 meters long and 6 meters in stature, produced using limestone impedes that weigh around 300 tons each. They didn't utilize mortar or some other sort of concrete to tie the dividers, however they are cut and put in such a manner stuffed so intently that even a sharp blade can't be wedged between 2 squares. Researchers have attempted to accomplish this at a lot more limited size, and have fizzled in their endeavors to recreate the tight joints of the Saqqara dividers.